And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Bill Maher is on a mission, shredding woke arguments like it's his day job. And this time, his target is none other than Whoopi Goldberg. Let's be real. After her endless stream of cringe-worthy takes since 2022, this clash was inevitable. Maher didn't just criticize her, he dismantled her arguments piece by piece in a verbal takedown so sharp, it left Whoopi scrambling like a cartoon character dodging anvils. So, what exactly did Whoopi say to trigger Maher's fury? And how? Did his response leave the woke crowd stunned? Buckle up, folks. This one's a roller coaster with no brakes.
We have got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
Whoopi Goldberg decided to poke the bear, and Bill Maher came roaring back. Remember when Maher roasted Sunny Hostin for twisting his words? Well, the ladies of The View clearly didn't take that loss well. This time, Whoopi stepped in like a self-appointed avenger, charging in hot and ready for battle. But instead of scoring a win, it felt more like a messy reality show showdown no one signed up for. And Maher wasn't about to back down.
And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class? I mean...
Classic Whoopi, flipping through the woke rulebook like it's gospel. Maher was making a straightforward point about black Americans wanting better jobs, a stronger economy, and fair policing. But instead of addressing that, Whoopi went off script, rambling about prosecutors and voting policies that had zero connection to the topic. It was like watching someone throw darts blindfolded, hoping something lands but hitting nothing. Spoiler alert, Maher wasn't having it, and he called her out instantly.
Let's tear down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no, it's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
Maher didn't sugarcoat it. He straight up called Whoopi's arguments nonsensical, which, let's be honest, is par for the course on The View. The show has become the political equivalent of a train wreck. Chaotic, painful to watch, but impossible to ignore. Between Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg, the level of wild hot takes has reached new heights. Remember when Charlemagne the God appeared on the show? You could practically see him wondering if he'd stepped into an alternate dimension.
The criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now.
Here's the setup. President Joe Biden, the guy who loves to say no one is above the law, pardoned his son Hunter after he was found guilty of corruption. Yeah, let that sink in. Critics exploded, calling it peak hypocrisy. If you're going to preach accountability, you can't hand out free passes to your own family. Charlemagne pointed this out on The View, but Whoopi wasn't having it. And that's when things got really heated.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
In a jaw-dropping moment, Whoopi claimed that Biden never lied when he said, "No one is above the law." Seriously, Whoopi, there's video, audio, and probably ancient cave paintings showing him saying exactly that. But instead of admitting the contradiction, she doubled down, and viewers everywhere couldn't believe what they were hearing.
This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law.
Watching Whoopi spin this narrative was like watching someone argue that the sky isn't blue while standing outside on a clear day. Her mental gymnastics could win Olympic gold, but she tripped over her own logic mid-routine. Charlemagne's stunned reaction said it all. Then Whoopi added a twist, claiming Biden might have just changed his mind because he was tired of people taking advantage of him. At that point, the entire panel went silent.
So I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that
You're
go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. They don't have to do.
Here's the thing about the woke crowd. They're loud when the opposition slips up, but when it's one of their own, suddenly it's crickets. That's exactly what played out here. Whoopi and her crew brushed off Biden's hypocrisy, but once Maher got wind of it, he unleashed a scorched earth takedown. No filters, no apologies, just pure verbal demolition. And it left the woke mob reeling.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit.
Maher nailed it. The woke mob claims to stand for truth and justice, until the rules apply to them. Hunter Biden's guilt was obvious, but because his dad's in the Oval Office, accountability magically disappeared. If this were anyone else, the mob would demand their head on a silver platter. Maher called out this two-faced behavior for what it is, a complete farce, and warned Americans not to ignore a system that protects the powerful while punishing everyone else.
Was it appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden?
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't follow this.
Saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
If you thought this ended with The View, think again. Maher went after the mainstream media too. He called out the way major outlets worked overtime to bury the Hunter Biden scandal, labeling it Russian disinformation while silencing opposing voices. Whoopi eagerly joined the chorus on The View, dismissing the entire story. Maher wasn't having it. He tore apart her excuses and exposed the media's hypocrisy for the world to see.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
Maher didn't stop at Whoopi's statements. He went after the show's entire approach. According to him, the hosts of The View don't debate to discuss ideas. They debate to silence dissent. Whoopi, in particular, has mastered the art of waving off opposing views as if they're beneath her. But Maher wasn't intimidated. He exposed these tactics as bullying dressed up as activism. For viewers frustrated with one-sided narratives, his takedown felt like a breath of fresh air.
Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here, as if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office, but they do. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're just like us.
Maher had another message for the progressive left. Stop blaming Russia, racism, or conspiracy theories for Trump's victory. He didn't cheat his way in. Millions of Americans voted for him, plain and simple. That's how democracy works. Instead of clinging to excuses, Maher says it's time for the left to face reality, rethink their strategy, and prepare for the next elections. Because denial won't win them 2028 or 2032.
I said there's a coalition of Trump voters, people who really like him. They certainly are those. And then there's people who don't necessarily like him that much, but they still think he's less crazy than stuff that strikes them as aggressively anti-common.
Maher broke it down. Not every Trump voter is waving MAGA flags or building golden shrines. Many held their noses and voted for him because they were tired of constant lectures and policies that felt detached from common sense. When the left cheers for biological men dominating women's sports or rallies with extremist undertones, they lose moderates. People didn't choose Trump because they adored him. They chose him because the alternative felt worse. Maher's point, if the left wants to win, they need to focus less on fringe agendas and more on what matters to everyday Americans.
Finally, new rule, stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Maher saved his sharpest punch for last. Whoopi tried to come at him for having his own opinion, but that backfired fast. He called out the irony of a co-host on The View, a show that claims to celebrate diverse perspectives, attacking him for daring to have one. He exposed the hypocrisy of a platform that preaches tolerance while shutting down dissent. With razor-sharp sarcasm and flawless timing, Maher dismantled their arguments like a master artist, using wit and logic as his paintbrush.